Folks, welcome back to the Preconstruction Podcast. Thanks for coming back. It is another live session recorded at Advancing Preconstruction in Denver. I am delighted to be sitting here beside Aaron Jech of Manhattan Construction. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you, appreciate it. Excited to be on.
Manhattan are absolutely killing it. They're a client of ours. We love them. We love the people that they work. The culture is great. We're going to get into all that. Oklahoma State University is where Aaron studied, 2016. What was the thinking behind that? Was there construction in the DNA, in the family? What was the...
I've worked a lot with my dad kind of growing up, doing different things around the house, whether it was installing a window or, we added on to our house when I was younger, and I was kind of just fascinated by that process. Growing up, seeing bridges being built, things like that, I went, I want to go do that. I want to build the bridges. I want to do those cool projects. Went to Oklahoma State, thought I was going to be a civil engineer, did about 6 months and realized that wasn't for me.
Very good.
And that's kind of when I realized that there's a whole other side of it in the commercial world that I, for some reason, didn't click in my brain until I went to college and enjoyed the commercial side, and that's when I made the switch to construction management.
Very good, quick decision there, because unlike me, I got to maybe year 3 in my degree, electrical engineering degree, realized it wasn't for me, but it was too far, and I just finished it and then pivoted from there. Yep. Construction management degree, let's talk about it. I like talking about the different states or the different universities and how they go about teaching the construction management degree. What was it like? What was it made up of?
So Oklahoma State is based out of the engineering college, so it's engineering focused. In fact, if you wanted to, technically you could sit and get your professional engineering's license through it, obviously if you do all the other credentials, but that's one of the benefits of going through that engineering program. Very focused more on the field side. There's some estimating components to it. There was estimating 1 and 2 class. There was a class teaching you OST and at the time MC squared, and I don't know what they've pivoted to since then, but so there were opportunities on the pre-construction side, but obviously mainly focused on the field side. They have a great group of construction companies that sit on the board and kind of help advise the professors on what they should be teaching for today's current market. What do the students need to know coming out of the university in order to have a great start into their construction career?
Is that common? That's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not sure on other universities or not, but at Oklahoma State it's worked out very well for them.
That makes perfect sense, because they can tell the lecturers what they teach to the students have the skills to hit the ground running when they come out.
Right.
Brilliant, I love it. Because I've asked that question quite a lot about it, and nobody's ever mentioned that, so it obviously is quite unique to Oklahoma State. Brilliant.
It's worked out very well for them.
Yeah, brilliant. And then obviously graduated. What was the thinking behind then? Was pre-construction always kind of a little itch that you thought, my skill set might lie within pre-construction?
Yeah, I think I kind of just fell into it a little bit. So my first internship, I was a PE more or less in the field doing submittals and things like that. And the next summer I pivoted to a different company, and there I was kind of just caught in between projects with the project manager I was working with. And at that company, they didn't truly have estimators. The PMs did everything from start to finish. And I did a little bit of takeoff it was a very small, like a ticketing bathroom for an area in Oklahoma City, in kind of just indoor casual area. But it was a wood frame takeoff, and my PM looked at me and said, well, you just went through estimating, try it out. And so I did, and I enjoyed it, had fun doing it. Then they sent me out, and I started framing for a couple of weeks with the superintendent on it. And then they brought me back into the office, and I kind of just finished out the summer doing some estimating stuff with them. And I think that's kind of when it clicked for me that I kind of liked that side of it. And then when I came to Manhattan, I was supposed to do about a year in estimating, and then I was going to go to the field and do about a year as a PE. And then 8 years later, I've been in estimating ever since.
Are you still going to do the PE stuff?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I get out that direction.
Because it's an interesting career when you're at Manhattan. I mean, to me, Manhattan would be quite innovative when it comes to a lot of things, technology, titles, everything. You were project controls manager at one stage, and I believe you were the one that started it up. Right. Give me an idea of that conversation, how that came about. Why did Manhattan think that they needed a project controls arm?
So The idea kind of started right before COVID, and it kind of worked out through the time of COVID. But our offices were scattered through the Southeast, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, DC, and Georgia. At the time, we weren't necessarily doing a lot of sharing of resources between divisions. We were here and there, but not a ton. But we started realizing that we have a lot of great talent through the regions, and sometimes we're branching out on projects that maybe another division is very good at doing. And so we kind of just took a step back and looked at the technology side of it, and we realized just simple bid solicitation, everybody was using something different. And we got together in our Tulsa office, and we brought in all the big vendors and sat down and kind of went through it and said, okay, we're going to make a decision on what our new bid solicitation software is, and we're going to make that next step forward to all transitioning to that. The idea being behind it, if I go to any one of the other offices, I'm familiar with the tool. I'm not trying to have to relearn something. I can focus more on the market differences and not the software differences. And I think that was kind of the first thing that clicked within Manhattan of, we've already got a project controls side for operations. They were already doing that when it comes to Procore and project site or whatever, or Prolog, I should say, was what we were on. And so they were already doing it on that side. They realized we need to have somebody on this side doing it. For me, it kind of just clicked because I was involved in kind of helping do some spreadsheets, bid leveling spreadsheets, things like that within the Oklahoma region. And at the time, the gentleman who was working on this position came to me and said, we'd like to go and have an actual project controls person for pre-construction. And he, interviewed for the job and got it, and did that for about three and a half years before I transitioned back into the estimating side.
Brilliant. And what is that? Because I can imagine the audience, maybe a company listening to this now, a pre-con manager is going, we need to do that. What did the early stages of that look like? Was it standardization? Was it processes? Was it workflows? Was it purely technology? Or was it a lot of information gathering?
It was a little bit of everything. At the time, we were making the switch from MC Square to Beck Technology. So I led that implementation for our company. We had members from each office kind of working with me, kind of making sure that they were being covered on what they needed as a day-to-day. But I was kind of leading the effort and was the front man with Beck Tech. The other side of it, we have our internal website where we obviously host all of our internal documents, and we went through that with a fine-tooth comb, kind of reworked our documents, made sure things were cleaned up and organized and whatnot. So it was just trying to not necessarily redo what we already had, but just try to make sure that what we had was a good starting point and clean up from there and just improve upon that process. And having somebody who could really champion it, stay on top of it, or just stay on top of the changes. If there's something comes from our corporate side that says, hey, we need to make a change here, there was somebody who could quickly make those edits, get it out to the groups so they weren't waiting a month or something for that change to come out. It was a quicker process.
To me, it's a great resource to have. I hear people as well saying, listen, that would be great, but we just don't have the time, we don't have the resources. But I think long term, and I'm sure you're reaping the rewards of it now, because I know you stepped back from that role and are now back in the senior manager or senior estimator role. How have you seen the benefits of that now when you're in? Because you've obviously left the estimating team, went and did this, now back in the estimating team. Has it changed much?
Yeah, it's definitely helped out. Like I said, it's been easier to find documents for us on that internal website. The way that we restructured our pre-construction side of it. I think the big benefit is our teams had somebody, and still do. We still have a pre-con controls manager. He's actually here at the event with us here, Adam Wolf. We still have somebody in-house that if we've got a question on a software, like Beck Technology, hey, I've got a question on kind of the best way to do something, can you help me out here? We've got somebody in-house who can answer those questions, and if they can't do it from there, then they reach out to the software vendors, and they're kind of the liaison between them. But it's worked out very well in having somebody in that capacity rather than these siloed, areas that have some really good information, but it's not really flowing to the other areas. It's at least now we have somebody that it all works through.
Yeah,
so
it's lost data.
Yeah.
I mean, and not only that. I mean, if you're doing a stadium project in Oklahoma and you've got another one in Dallas, I mean, the information that you gather through that project needs to be shared and needs to be easily accessible and presentable. Yeah.
And the big thing I always stress to our teams is, look, if you've got a frustration about something, if a spreadsheet's not working the way you're expecting, or there's a process that's slow, or you think that could be improved, 9 times out of 10, somebody else in a different region has that same thought. So let's brainstorm together. Let's talk about what changes we can make to make something better, and let me be the champion of making that happen, or the Precon Controls Manager make that happen, so that we can benefit the whole group, not just you all. And I think that's really helped out our group as we move forward with stuff. We've had a couple of iterations of our bid leveling Excel sheet that we've done in-house that's really kind of helped our teams level up how we do bid leveling. Of course, we have some other tools that we use if we're able to, with Building Connected and whatnot, but it's worked out very well for us.
Good, glad to hear. But you couldn't stay away, and you're back now in the estimating side.
Couldn't stay away. Oklahoma City, we're a small group of 3 estimators now. It was 2 for a while, and then I came back in. And I would still try to help them out where I could. If I was maybe a bit slow and they were really slammed with something, I'd step in where I could. But Oklahoma is a very busy market right now. There's a lot going on, and not a lot of people that want to be there for some reason. And it's a beautiful state, and it's a beautiful city. We got a lot going on. We got the Thunder right now in the NBA playoffs, and they're doing a great job. So it's a great state to be in right now.
And the cost of living is a big thing. I mean, when I speak to people across the US, the one thing that they say, especially if they're relocating, is, what's the cost of living difference? Are we going up or are we going down?
I am so fortunate in Oklahoma because of the cost of living. It is very nice living there. You can afford to live in a comfortable home, be and do all the different activities, and not, you still have to budget, you still have to be conscious of your money, but you get to do a lot in Oklahoma before you have to really start worrying about it. And I've talked to a lot of different people about that in different regions, in DC and things like that. And the other big side about Oklahoma is traffic. It's nothing. My commute's 35 minutes, and that's more or less because I chose to live further away from the office than I probably could.
But Aaron, you know that in the next 5 years, all the people moving there, the traffic is going to get busy. It happened to Charlotte, Tampa, Atlanta. It happened to them all.
It's going to happen. I mean, I think we're the 20th largest city now. I think that happened last year sometime, and it definitely shows. I mean, we have a lot of stuff coming to the city. We just passed a $1 billion bond, or a deal for the new NBA arena for the Thunder.
Wow.
So that'll get moving here pretty quick. They want to get that thing, I think, by, I might be wrong on this. I thought it was the 2028 season is when they wanted to open.
Tell you what, they need to get
moving.
Because if they go all the way, I mean, that pushes it back massively.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll be a big deal for us.
I think they're doing training facilities as well. I think they're talking about, and there's loads of projects. Surely you got to throw your Manhattan's hat in the ring for that.
Yeah, we're definitely we're following that one closely, seeing what's happening there. There's a couple other big projects around town that we're following closely. Of course, I'm sure you've heard that the developer from California who wants to build the tallest skyscraper in America.
Yeah. Is that going ahead, or is that still in the planning phase?
So basically, he's looking at it in 2 or maybe 3 phases. His first phase is kind of a mixed-use restaurants, retail, and I think maybe a tower or so. And I think that's only maybe 25, 30 stories. And it's going to be mainly housing and then some hotel component to it. And I think if he sells that out, he builds the next tower, which is about the same size. And if that sells out, then he's, in theory, going to build the big one. But
wow.
We'll see.
Yeah, that'll sort out the traffic.
Yeah. Well, if everybody's living downtown, there's no need for cars or anything. When you've got a 100-something story building.
Everywhere,
yeah.
We electric scooters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There you are, folks. I mean, to me, Oklahoma, there's probably 4 or 5 gem areas in the US, but Oklahoma is one of those. When you consider food, work-life balance, cost of living, and just loads of work basically going on.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on right now. I mean, we got last weekend we had our Memorial Marathon. We had the US Olympic trials for canoeing kayaking in town, and then we had, of course, the Thunder and their playoffs. So we had a lot going in town in one weekend, and I mean it's great to see it. I've been there now over 10, 12 years at this point, and just the development from when I first moved to Oklahoma City to now is just 9-day difference. We are constantly moving. So, and I think a lot of that's, we passed the MAPS projects, which are our a tax on our sales tax for just improving things around the city. And it started out as our Bricktown area downtown. It moved into MAPS for Kids, which were schools and parks and things like that. And then our most recent one was the MAPS for adult facilities and kind of just different improvements around the city. So I mean, they're constantly investing in the city, and the citizens are all for it. The bond passes every time with no issue. We're all for it because we know and seen how much it's helped the city.
Exciting times.
Very exciting times.
You're not going anywhere. There you are, folks. If you're interested in going to Oklahoma, head up Aaron, head up me.
We'd love to have you. We'd love to have everybody out there.
So listen, obviously we've gone through a lot there now, right? If there's anybody out there that's gone, you know what, I would love to pick Aaron's brain on a couple of those topics, where's the best place to get you?
Yeah, feel free to give me a shout. My email's Aaron Jech, Jech at manhattanconstruction.com. Feel free to give me a shout. I love talking technology, all for it. It's probably my favorite part about this is talking to all the vendors and what the products they have. Just got a soft spot in my heart for the technology side, even though I never really went down the whole tech path. But technology and construction technology is a lot of fun.
Just on that, obviously you've been in talking to the vendors. Anything stand out? I mean, there's a lot of choice there now.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I was at Advancing Precon 2 years ago in Vegas, and back this year, and just the difference in the amount of vendors between then to now, there's a lot. And at this point, I haven't had a chance to run around too much and get a chance to talk to them all, but there's a lot of new names out there that I haven't heard that I'm interested in talking to.
And it's exciting. We need that. We need competition.
Oh, yeah.
Because the legacy stuff, they've had it for 25, 30 years. We need more cloud-based services. The same as the operations side. We need that. And I think it's moving fast enough to be able to deliver it over the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I think we saw a huge wave when it comes to the operational side with Procore and some other tools like that. And I think Precon's finally having our day and the moment of getting some good pre-construction software. We've obviously had it, but I think we're starting to get a lot of good stuff out there. So I'm excited.
Yeah, brilliant. Aaron, it's been a pleasure.
I appreciate it very much.